Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about phyllosphere. As we know, the plant leaves are exposed to dust and air currents, resulting in the establishment of typical microbial flora on the surface, which we term as phyllosphere. So let's see in detail about the phyllosphere now. Phylloplane. The actual leaf surface is going to be considered as phylloplane. Whereas the phyllosphere means the region or the zone or surface on leaves inhabited by microorganisms is going to be considered as phyllosphere. And the word phyllosphere was coined by Dutch microbiologist called Riemann. So while she is observing in the Indonesian forest vegetation, she observed a thick microbial epiphytic association which is going to be existing on the leaves between the microbes and the leaves of the forest vegetation. And she found that useful microorganisms that are present on the leaf surface in the forest vegetation is able to have the property of nitrogen fixation. That means she found the two most important nitrogen fixing bacteria on the leaf surfaces, such as Beijeringia and Azotobacter. So, following her investigations, several other researchers studied the composition and importance of phyllosphere microflora. Then, what are these phyllosphere microorganisms? The phyllosphere microorganisms was found to be colonized by several species of bacteria, blue-green algae, and fungi. So in general, we can see apart from the nitrogen fixing bacteria, we are going to have the other bacteria also like Pseudomonas, Pseudobacterium, Phytomonas, Erwinia, Sarcina, and other unidentified ones have been encountered on this plant surface, especially on leaf surface. Okay, we are studying especially the leaf surface. So along with that, the common phyllosphere microorganism that we are seeing is, for example, if we check the bacteria, we are going to have the nitrogen fixers like Beijeringia and Azotobacter. Then coming to other bacteria, Pseudomonas, Erwinia, all these things. Then blue-green algae or cyanobacteria. We are having the Anabaena, Calothrix, then Nostoc, Cytonema. Okay, and we are also having Toliprotrix and Rhodiotorula is also going to be coming as a blue-green algae. Then actinomycetes, we are having actinomyces and streptomyces. Then yeast, we are going to have the Candida, Cryptococcus, Rhodiotorula, Torulopsis, and Saccharomyces. Then moving to the filamentous fungi, both the yeast and filamentous fungi comes under the fungi only. Okay, so the filamentous fungi here we are having the, for example, Cladosporium, Alternaria, Cercospora, Torula, Penicillium, Aspergillus, Mucar, Rhizopus, then Trichoderma, Stachybotritis, etc. So these are the few phyllosphere microorganisms that we are observing either on the leaf surface or on the plant surface. Then moving to the thing why this is going to be of happening, that means why the microorganisms are going to present on the surface, though the plants, as we know, they are always exposed to the dust and the air currents. So which is going to be the resulting the establishment of a typical microbial flora on the surface. And this establishment is going to be because of some secretions that are being released by the certain plants. That is, we call them as leaf diffusates or exudates. And these leaf diffusates or leachates have been analyzed for their chemical constituents and were found to have amino acids, glucose, fructose, and sucrose, which are going to be helpful in or supporting the growth of many microorganisms in the that are going to present on the surface of the leaf. Then what are the microbial activities that we are going to see? The presence of spores of a pathogen on the surface of leaves and pods result in the formation of a substance called as phytoalexin. The term phytoalexin is derived from a Greek word. Phyto means plant and alexine means wording of compound. The leaf surface microorganism may perform an effective function in controlling the spread of airborne pathogens. That means what they are going to have the anti agonistic activity against the pathogen one. The fungal metabolite, even in the absence of the spores, that means if the fungi is going to be unable to produce the spores, but their metabolites may also independently induce the formation of phytoalexin. So these phytoalexins are going to be by different compounds or the plants. For example, if we take a potato, the Solanum tuberosum, it is going to have a phytoalexin called solanine. Okay. In the same manner, if we check the tobacco, we are going to have that is tobacco is nothing but the Nicotina tabacum, which is going to have a phytoalexin compound called scopolamine. In the same manner, each and every plant is going to have some sort of phytoalexin compound. So in the same manner, another example, if we are going to consider, is soya bean, which is a glycine max, and the phytoalexin compound that was named is hydroxyfasciolin is the phytoalexin compound. So the resistance to disease-causing microorganisms has been attributed to these fungistatic compounds secreted by leaves such as malic acid from leaves of Cicer aetinum, phenols from apples, and waxy material from leaves of ginkgo. So that's how you are going to have certain reactions to the things. Okay, and this fungistatic or phytoalexin compounds are going to be what we call as induced by the synthesis of phytoalexins, means there are some biotic factors and there are some abiotic elicitors. Elicitors are nothing but commonly we use the term elicitor to denote the compounds which induce the synthesis of phytoalexin compounds. Okay, so elicitors. So we had two types, biotic elicitors and abiotic elicitors. So what are elicitors? The compounds we commonly, or the term that we use commonly to denote the compounds which induce the synthesis of phytoalexin are going to be called as elicitors. So we had two types of the elicitors which are going to induce the synthesis of phytoalexin. One is biotic elicitors, another one is abiotic elicitors. The biotic elicitors are going to be from the complex polysaccharides either from the fungal or the plant cell walls, or they may be lipids, or they may be microbial enzymes and polypeptides. And the abiotic elicitors which are going to induce the synthesis of phytoalexins may be heavy metals, salts to detergents, then autoclave ribonuclease, coal and EV line. So these are all going to act as abiotic elicitors which induce the synthesis of phytoalexin. Then moving to one more example, that is epiphytic microorganisms. These are having the capacities to synthesize indolestic acid, which is one of the type of phytohormone which will be helpful for the growth of the plant. So a more interesting and useful biological function is the fixation of nitrogen by these phyllosphere microorganisms which are inhabiting the leaf surface. The best example that we know is going to be the Bacteria and Estobacter, Escherichia, Bacillus, Brevibacterium, Rhizobium, etc. So the recent studies also has shown that there are certain bacteria called as bacteria like Bacillus, Agromobacter, Pseudomonas, Cellulomonas. So where these were isolated from the special type of the plants called as pea and wheat. So and they also proved that there is microflora that are present on these leaves, pea and wheat, are going to be of a potential nitrogen fixes. So that's how the experiments have also been done under laboratory conditions to demonstrate the nitrogen fixation in the phyllosphere of several plants by using the nitrogen 15. Okay, so this is all about the microbial activities of microbial flora of phyllosphere. Then what are the factors that are influencing the phyllosphere microflora? The phyllosphere microflora is also going to be influenced by a number of plant as well as environmental factors. What are the plant factors which are including or affecting this phyllosphere microflora? Number one, genetic variety of the plant and age of the plant. So these are the two main factors, and the third one is variety of the plant or variety of the leaf. So these are the few factors related to the plant. Then what are the environmental factors which are going to influence these phyllosphere microflora? Number one, nutrition of the plant, then light, temperature, then humidity and agronomic practices. That means the application of fertilizers and pesticides in the soil and on aerial parts of the plant significantly affect the phyllosphere microflora. So these are the few factors which are influencing the phyllosphere microflora. Then moving to the advantages of phyllosphere microflora. So how can we say that these are going to be of very helpful to the plant means the initial studies whatever on the phyllosphere were mainly directed towards the identification of nitrogen fixers only, but later studies revealed a number of other beneficial roles in the plant growth. So let's see few of them. The first one that we are going to have is here. These are mainly useful in the nitrogen budget of the plant. The examples are going to be Bejonica, Estobacter, Cyanobacteria like Anabina, Nostoc, Cytonema have been encountered on the leaf surface. Then coming to the second one, phyllosphere microorganisms elicit the production of phytoalexins by the host plant, which confer the biochemical resistance against bacterial, fungal, and viral pathogens. This is second one. The third one is going to be of epiphytic microorganisms are known to synthesize an indolestic acid. That's I already told you, which is a growth promoter which enhances the plant growth. Then the fourth one is going to be the phyllosphere microflora forms a biological barrier for the establishment of plant pathogens. That means the phyllosphere microflora will not allow the plant pathogens to harbor the surface of the leaf. So that's how it is preventing the plant pathogens to attack the plants. So the efforts are being made to manipulate the phyllosphere microflora for enhanced plant growth. For example, if you are going to spray the crop plants, the leaves of the crop plants with the aqueous solutions of sucrose or with bacterial suspension, which has resulted in enhanced growth and yield of certain legumes and cereals. So it is going to be a very beneficial in the yield of legumes and cereals. Apparently, such sprays may have intensified the biochemical events on the phyllosphere towards the beneficial side. So this is all about the advantages or significance of phyllosphere microflora. With this, we have finished the topic called as phyllosphere. So which is one of the type of what we call as the relationship between the plants and the microbes or the interaction between the plants and the microbes. Thank you.